Good morning, everybody. A toast with the coffee. Thank you, everybody, very much for your comments. I wasn't sure how much people still wanted me to talk to you every morning, and I got a lot of great positive feedback. So that was really wonderful to hear. And so away we go. We're going to keep going. By the way, my mother looked up, and my first talk was April 11th. So we haven't quite made it 8 weeks yet, but we're getting close. So for the rest of this week, we're going to talk about health. You know, as you're climbing the mountain of success, which is really what it is, but it's a joyous journey, I think. I mean, it's an exciting journey, except, remember, you never get to the top, right? You're always going. As you're doing that, I mean, you want to be able to have energy. And in fact, you need, depending upon what it is that you want to do, a certain level of energy in order to accomplish anything. But the other thing that is really important, I think, to remember as you're going through this is there is a lot of people that sacrifice their health for money, and then at the end of their life spend all their money to try and get their health back. And you don't want to be one of those people. You don't want to be somebody that finally gets to the goal line that you were looking for, and then all of a sudden you turn around and your health's gone, and you look back at your life and you've never done any of the things that you wanted to do. I mean, the statistics on people who retire and then die within the first year are just completely scary. I mean, they're just unbelievably scary. And another phrase that I heard that I think is really good to remember is, a person with their health has a million dreams. A person without their health has one. So as we go through all of this, if we don't take care of our health, then what's the point of all of it? We're not going to feel good as we're doing it. We're not going to do as good a job. I mean, the more that you can manage your state in terms of your health and have energy, the better you're going to bring to everything. The better you feel, the better you look. The better you feel. All of those things are connected. So we want to make sure that as we do all of this, we're taking care of our health. Now, if you start to look at what does that mean to take care of your health, now this can be as confusing as to where you should invest your money, right? I mean, it's just all over the place. There's so many different ideas. Eat lots of protein. Don't eat lots of protein. You need to, intermittent fasting, that's the big deal, right? You got to do these things, do these drops, do this, do that, take these supplements. Well, for me, you want to have, in my opinion, two things. You want to have high energy and low disease. Whatever you want to look like, that's a different thing. I mean, if you want to have large muscles, then you might need to eat a certain amount of protein, although I think even that is becoming proven as a fallacy. What I'm considered, what I worry about is I want to have a lot of energy. I want to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it, no matter what the age is. And I want to be able to be in good shape as I get older so that I can enjoy all this stuff. I want to enjoy my daughter as I get older. I want to be able to enjoy the financial freedom that I'm creating as I get older. So I don't want to get older and not be able to move and not be able to do things and not have any energy and not have any health. So the first thing I'm going to encourage you to do is look up something called the China study. The China study is the largest research into health experiment ever done. It was done in China over a period of 20 years. And what they did is they went to 65 different counties in China because China eats everything. I mean, as we've known, and obviously there's a virus that might have been part of that, but China eats absolutely everything. I mean, anything that exists, the people in China eat it. But what happens in China is people tend to live in one place for their entire life, and so you have generations of people who have lived in a certain way. So you have generations of people who have eaten predominantly meat. You have generations of people who have not, and they haven't been exposed to a lot of toxins until recently. And so over time, they were able to see what's the life expectancy and what's the lifespan of people depending upon how they live their life. The second thing is China doesn't just have a large population. It had by far the largest population of centenarians, people that lived over 100. And these are not people that had significant access to health care, high-end technical medical stuff, but they still had areas where they had these huge numbers of people who lived to be over 100. So China study was done after 20 years, and the results of the China study were just impressively overwhelming. And the result is the more that you eat fresh fruits and vegetables, and the less that you eat animal products, the longer you live and the healthier you are. And it wasn't just heart disease that it was associated to. It was heart disease, it was cancer, it was everything. I mean, it was absolutely everything. So let's just talk about some general ideas of health. So, because a lot of the ideas that we've been fed, remember, weren't necessarily designed to be in our best interests. I mean, the whole food pyramid thing, okay, that was not based on science. The food pyramid was based on the fact that the dairy industry was struggling and the government wanted to try to help them. And so they created the food pyramid. So let's talk about just some logic. And I have a food pyramid the way that I think you should eat. And I'll post that at some point here. I got to find it, but I know that I have it, and I will post it sometime this week. What animals live the longest in the wild? Is it carnivores or is it herbivores? And by the way, if you don't know, carnivores eat meat and herbivores eat vegetables. What animals live the longest? Well, it's not even close. Turtles can live to be over 100. Herbivores clearly live much longer periods of time. Go through the animal kingdom and think about who lives the longest and what do they eat. Secondly, the biggest and the strongest animals that are out there, who also a lot of times are some of the ones that live the longest, by the way. So the biggest and the strongest animal. What's the strongest animal that walks the planet? An elephant. What does an elephant eat? An elephant is an absolute herbivore, does not ever touch any meat. Who else is some of the strongest animals around? Well, let's look at the gorilla. The lowland silverback gorilla is genetically equal to us in 99.99% the same. We are 99.90% the same as that animal. It shows you just one little difference in genetics can make a big difference in terms of how you look. But our bodies are unbelievably similar. And is a lowland silverback, first of all, does it live a long time or a short time? Lowland silverback gorillas live a long time. Secondly, how powerful are they? A lowland silverback gorilla can rip a bamboo tree out of the ground and snap it in half with its bare hands as a display of power when two lowland silverback gorillas are figuring out who's the biggest male and who should dominate the tribe. What does a lowland silverback gorilla eat? Bamboo leaves and fruit. That's it. Herbivores live the longest and are by far the most powerful of all of the animals. Go through your list and think about the animals that are herbivores and how large and powerful they are. Now, when you think about carnivores, look at the hierarchy of the carnivores. So, who are the carnivores that, when we think of a carnivore, what's the first one that comes to our mind? A lion, right? Now, do lions look good? They look beautiful. Do they live a long time? No. They don't have that great of a life expectancy. And they are only carnivores, but think about the food chain. Let's just do the food chain in Africa. Lion kills a zebra. The lion is the first one to feed, and what does the lion eat? It immediately eats the animal, and it only eats the highest quality internal organs. And then sorry, my internet quit for a minute. Then what comes next? The hyena. Now, who looks better, the lion or the hyena? Who's bigger or who's more powerful? The hyena eats the secondary flesh, right? The hyena eats the attachment ligaments. The hyena will eat the internal organs that aren't as healthy for you, bowels, things like that. The hyena will eat the lower end meats. Hyena's life expectancy, even less than a lion. Hyena's not as big, not as powerful, and doesn't look as healthy. You can tell that it doesn't look as healthy. What comes next? The vultures. How do vultures look? They look terrible. Well, there's a reason. They eat nothing but rotting flesh. That's what they eat. They're there to pick up the pieces. And do they look good? No, they don't look good. Do they have long life expectancies? No, absolutely not. So we got to start getting out of our heads, first of all, that we need this massive amount of protein. We've been fed this idea that we've got to have huge amounts of protein in order to be healthy, when the opposite is true. So let's talk about another example. When in your life do you think you need the most protein? From beginning to end, from when you're born to when you die, when do you think your body needs the most protein? As a baby, right? I mean, that's when you're doing the most growing. You're growing like crazy. So how much protein is in mother's milk? Less than the amount of protein that is in broccoli. Even bodybuilders now have figured out that they can bodybuild and not do it with animal flesh, that they can do it with vegetables if they eat high quality vegetables. And when I say high quality, what I mean is the type of vegetable and that it's raw, that it's not cooked. We do not need the protein that we think we do. And the China study conclusively showed you that the more you eat fresh fruits and vegetables, the longer you will live and the healthier you will be during that life. The phrase that we like to use is, don't dig your grave with your teeth. I mean, heart disease, all of these various things, these are not viruses. This isn't something that came and attacked you. If cholesterol causes you to die, which, by the way, number 2 causes of death in this country still by far, cancer, heart disease. How much of cancer is diet related? You'll see a lot of different studies, but get out there and look. It's probably about 80%, maybe more. There's been various doctors that have been talking about this, and they were shunned by the medical community forever until recently people are finally coming around and seeing that a diet that is very high in raw fruits and vegetables, if not exclusively in raw fruits and vegetables, is unbelievably healthy. And as we go through this week, I'll give you some names of some people that there's some books that you can take a look at. But Fit for Life is a book that came out, and it's a little tiny book. It was based on the China study. Came out forever ago. And I mean, when it did, people just went nuts and said, this is really a bad idea. This isn't how you're supposed to live. And now it's finally coming out that, not only is it healthier, not only do you live longer, not only do you have a greater chance of avoiding cancer and all these other things, but now they're starting to figure out that if you give yourself enough raw fruits and vegetables and rest and water and meditation, that you can even heal yourself from genetic problems that you have. So you might be genetically predisposed to a certain type of cancer, or you might be genetically predisposed to heart disease. But if you fill your body full of very healthy foods, you can not only turn back time on all of that stuff, but you can actually change your genetics now, they believe. This is the latest. This is what I heard last fall at a seminar that I went to, that you can actually change your genetics and improve that issue so that that doesn't happen. I mean, I know we had a lady that worked for us forever and ever and ever, and she was just a strict vegetarian and exercised every day. Rode her bike literally all over the world. She rode from coast to coast in the United States, and then she went from Minneapolis down to New Orleans in the United States. She rode across France. And everybody in her family, by the time they were 65, had very significant Alzheimer's. She lived to be 97, and she did eventually get Alzheimer's, but she didn't get it until she was in her 90s, till it was at the very end of her life, way beyond the rest of her family. So she was genetically predisposed to some of that stuff, but because of her lifestyle, she pushed it back. So I'm going to talk about some systems. I'm going to talk about, and again, I'm not a doctor, okay? I've just been to lots and lots of seminars on this stuff and read lots of books, and I'm giving you an idea that I think is valid. You go out and take a look and see what you think. But the first thing I think you should take a look at is the China study, and it's now become a best-selling book. Just look it up on Wikipedia and just read about it. But think about this. If you want to live, doesn't it make sense that you should eat things that are alive? Doesn't that make sense? That the healthier the food is that you put into your body, the better it's going to operate. And that if you're putting fresh fruits and vegetables predominantly into you, that it's going to be easier for your body to digest. Your body's going to get the nutrients that it's looking for, and then it's going to be able to operate better. So, a big change in terms of the way you think for a lot of people. Maybe not so much for you. Maybe yes, maybe no. All week we're going to talk about this. Today's only Tuesday, but I want you to just go look at that. Pull up the China study on Wikipedia and then start doing a little investigating to what it means if you don't have as much animal protein and you do a lot more with raw fruits and vegetables and what that's going to do for your life. Obviously, it has a huge impact on your weight. It has a huge impact, on all of those things. But what I'm really talking about is we want to live a long time and we want to be very healthy so that we can enjoy all of these things that we're creating. So it's Tuesday. It's going to be a great day. Really feels like, we're coming out of this. We need to take care of each other, folks. There's a lot of strife going on in the world right now. Start local. That's where you start in order to take care of each other. We're going to get through this. Have a great day.